Dowry flat renovated, mother-in-law changed locks. I pretended not to know, went to my parents for 3 days. When she brought movers, the sight stunned the whole family. In our 3rd year, the marital home down payment, paid with my dowry and renovation money, was seized by my mother-in-law for my brother-in-law. They brazenly moved right in. And my husband, Sean Chen, he told me straight-faced, Mom says, the house is wasted empty. Let my brother's family stay. Don't be so stingy, you're the sister-in-law, after all. I looked at his familiar, now strange face. No tears, no scene. I didn't look back. I went to my parents. 3 days later, my mother-in-law showed up with a basket of eggs, knocking triumphantly on the door. She thought it was her family's. She didn't know my 3-day plan. I'd done something that would leave everyone speechless. And later, when Sean Chen knelt before me, crying and begging me to come back, I only had one sentence for him. Sean Chen, are you even worthy? My name is Serena Shen. I'm 28, married for 3 years, no kids. This marriage, from the very start, felt like a one-woman show. And Sean Chen? He was just an audience member on the stage, occasionally nodding along or forcing a smile. We met at a friend's party. Back then, he wore a dark blue sweater. When he smiled, he had these shallow dimples. He spoke slowly and methodically, like a gentle, bookish type. I admit it. I was fooled by that whole nice guy facade. Mom said, find a man not for wealth. Just find someone honest and dependable. Sean Chen ticked every single one of her boxes. A stable government job. Countryside farmer parents. Honest. His salary wasn't high, but it was enough. He didn't smoke or drink. Now I see. Honest and spineless can be a thin line. Is as thin as a sheet of paper. My parents worked hard in business, saved a good nest egg. When I got married, they used all their savings to buy me a 3-bed, 2-bath dowry flat in the city center. The property deed has only my name on it. My mom held my hand and said, Qingwan, this is your safety net from us. No matter what happens, you'll always have a place to call your own. Sean Chen stood beside me, smiling, and said, don't worry, Mom. I'll treat Qingwan right. I won't let her down. He charmed my mom so much. Her eyes welled up. She kept nodding, saying, what a good boy. I was run ragged handling the renovation alone. Choosing tiles, picking cabinets, selecting curtains, every single item I picked out myself. Sean Chen would occasionally tag along, but he'd just be on his phone the whole time. I'd ask him, does this color look good? He wouldn't even look up. Whatever you like is fine. Back then, I thought he was just respecting my opinion. It wasn't until later I realized he never saw this place as his home. In his mind, it was always Serena Shen's apartment, not our home. The renovation cost nearly 400,000, all paid for by my parents. Sean Chen didn't contribute a single cent. His mother, though, she came by a few times. Every visit, she had to have her say about everything. The first time, she stood in the living room, turned in a circle, frowned and said, this wall paint is too light. A child will dirty it in one touch. You should change it to a darker color. I smiled and said, Mom, this color I chose will look great with the furniture. She pursed her lips and didn't say anything more. But that expression, I remembered it. The second time she came, she looked at the kitchen tiles and started up again. Are these floor tiles slippery? What if you have a child? They fall? She said, you young people just don't know how to live properly. The third time, she saw the small walk-in closet next to the master bedroom, and just exploded. What a waste of space. Partitioning this out into a nursery would be so much better. You're not having kids now, but you will eventually. Sean Chen chimed in from the side. Mom has a point. Maybe we shouldn't do the walk-in closet. I was choosing a closet light. The phone in my hand almost slipped. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice as calm as possible. Mom, this is my apartment. The style was decided by me and my parents. The walk-in closet is what I've always wanted. I'm not changing it. My mother-in-law's face fell right then and there. She didn't say anything in front of me, but I heard her whispering to Sean Chen in the hallway. What's with your wife, being so domineering? Once she married into our family, she's one of us. Her apartment. Isn't it your apartment too? As her mother-in-law, can't I even offer a little advice? And how did Shanshan reply? He said, "Mom, don't be angry. That's how she is. I'll talk to her later. Talk to her about it." Those 3 words later became the most nauseating curse in our marriage. Life just drifted on, bland and uneventful, for over 2 years. The apartment was finished. We aired it out, waited another half-year. I was never in a rush to move in. We stayed near my parents. Shanshan lived with us at my parents' house too. He ate the food my parents cooked and drove the car my parents bought. Mom's extra dishes? He'd call them greasy. Back then, I didn't even think anything was wrong with that. Looking back now, my eyes, Serena Shin's eyes, must have been blind back then. It was a Thursday. I remember it clearly, because just the day before, I'd gotten the final test report for the new apartment. The formaldehyde levels were safe. We could move in. Overjoyed, I told Shanshan. "This weekend, let's go tidy up. Next month?" He grunted, scrolling on his phone. Laughing like an idiot. I didn't think much of it. The next day at lunch, I drove over to the new place on my break. I wanted to measure for curtains. And take a few photos to show my mom, make her happy. I parked underground, went to the 9th floor. Walked to unit 903, fished the key from my bag, slid it in. It wouldn't turn. I paused, thought I'd grabbed the wrong key. Looked down. No, it was the right one. I pulled it out. Tried again. Still wouldn't budge. I crouched down, looked at the lock. In that instant, my heart just dropped. The lock core had been changed. Set into that brand new security door was a lock brand I didn't even recognize. I stood there, feeling like a bucket of ice water had been dumped over my head. A chill seeped out from my very bones. I pulled out my phone. Dialed Shanshan. "Hello? Hey, babe, what's up? I can't open the lock at the new place." My voice was surprisingly calm. "Can't open it? That's impossible. You sure you've got the right key?" His tone was casual. Background chatter, he was out eating. Tried thrice. Locks replaced, not stuck. Silence on the other end for a few seconds. "Oh, His voice suddenly got a little weak. "That was probably Mom. She thought the old lock unsafe. Wanted to get a better one. I forgot to tell you. Your mother has a key to my house? Last week, when you went back to your parents to get your stuff, I asked for the key to check ventilation. He gave it to me. Babe, don't overthink. Mom was just trying to help, wanted to get a better lock." My hand holding the phone was trembling. Not from fear. From rage. But I held it in. My voice became even calmer. "Shanshan. This is my house. The deed. Only my name on it. Your mom changed the lock. Shouldn't she have asked me? Well, aren't we family?" He gave a dry chuckle. "My mom's just looking out for us, you know? I'll call her to bring the new keys." No need. I hung up. My finger hovered over the screen for a few seconds. Then, I opened an app one hadn't used in ages. During renovations, for convenience, I installed 3 hidden cameras: living room, master bedroom, spare room. Once set up, I never checked them, almost forgot the password. I entered the password. The feed loaded. The living room was empty. But there were a few disposable cups on the coffee table now. A couple of supermarket shopping bags were piled by the sofa. Inside, I could vaguely make out towels, toothbrushes, slippers, even the sofa cushions were replaced. The set of gray-blue linen cushions I'd so carefully chosen were gone. Replaced by a set of thick, bright red cushions, printed with tacky peony flowers. I switched to the master bedroom camera feed. The moment the image loaded, it felt like I'd been nailed to the spot. The bed was made up with a set of bright red bedding, embroidered with tacky golden dragons, phoenixes, peonies. It made me want to vomit. The wardrobe doors were wide open. Inside hung several pieces of clothing that clearly weren't mine. A man's plaid shirt, a woman's floral dress, and a dull, grayish cotton padded jacket. The style was so dated it looked straight out of the 90s. I switched to the spare room feed. That room was supposed to be empty. I'd planned to turn it into a study later. Now, there was a crib there. A white one. Colorful rattles hung from it. On the wall, were a few crookedly stuck cartoon stickers. Peppa Pig. SpongeBob SquarePants. Stuck on all crooked. My knuckles turned white. So it wasn't just the locks. They'd moved their whole damn family in. I turned off my phone, leaned against the wall, eyes closed. Took a deep breath. The April sunlight. Sunlight streamed in, glaringly bright. I stood in that beam of light for about a minute. Then I opened my eyes and made a decision. I didn't call the police. I didn't pound on the door or scream at my mother-in-law. I took the elevator, got in my car, drove to my parents' house. The whole way, Sean Chen's calls came one after another. I didn't answer a single one. WeChat messages started popping up like crazy. Where are you? I'll come. The locks? Such a big deal? I looked at that last message and laughed. A big deal? Oh, it's a huge deal. When I got to my parents' place, Mom was making soup. Dad was reading the newspaper. Seeing me come back alone, Mom paused for a second. Serena? What brings you back all of a sudden? Where's Sean, Mom? I missed you guys. I'm staying for a few days. I forced a smile. Mom could tell something was wrong, but she didn't pry. She pulled me inside. It's good you're back. I made soup for you. Have some? Dad put down his newspaper and glanced at me. Did you have a fight? No. Your eyes are red. Dad stood up. Did Shanchan hurt you? I said no. Really, I didn't. I just missed you. Then I hugged Mom's arm and buried my face in her shoulder. So she couldn't see my expression. A little after 8. Shanchan showed up at our door. He held fruit, forced a smile, and entered. Dad, Mom, I'm here to take Serena home. Dad stayed put. Mom poured water onto the table. She said flatly, sit. Sean looked a bit awkward. He sat down and looked at me, lowering his voice. Honey, come home with me. Mom gave me the keys. Look. All 3 are here. He took out. He placed 3 new keys on the table. I froze. Sean Chen. I looked up at him. Did your mother move into my house? His face changed. How? How did you know? How I know isn't important. What's important is, that's my house. How dare they move in? My permission? Who said my brother is moving in? He avoided my gaze. Mom is just airing it out for now. We need to put things away and change the sheets. We need to set up a crib. I stared at him. Sean Chen, do you think I'm stupid? He was speechless. Dad slammed the newspaper down on the coffee table. Sean, what's going on? Did your mother move into Serena's apartment? Dad, it's not moving in. She's just staying for a few days. Sean hurried to explain. My brother and his wife's lease is up. The landlord won't renew. They can't find a suitable place right away. So Mom said, since Serena's apartment is newly renovated anyway, the apartment's empty, they can stay a few days. They'll move out. A few days? I asked. A month at most. I laughed in disbelief. Sean Chen, my parents bought that for me. I've never lived there. And your mother, your brother's whole family, they just move right in? You changed the locks? Are you squatters? Serena Shen, watch your mouth. He got angry too. That's my mother. Your mother-in-law. What's wrong with helping family? Are you heartless? You'd just let my brother's family be homeless? Can't your brother's family rent their own place? They have to steal mine? I stood up. Sean Chen, let me make this clear to you. Either they're out in the locks or changed back by tomorrow. Or I'll call the cops. You. Mom pulled me back. She looked at Sean Chen, her tone still measured. Sean, honey, what your family did here, it's not right. That apartment is Qingwan's premarital property. Moving in without permission, changing locks, indefensible. Listen, sweetie. Have your family move out first. We can discuss everything as a family. Sean Chen's face was livid. He looked at me, my parents, then snatched the keys. Through gritted teeth, he spat out, fine. Serena Shen, you're ruthless. I see you clearly now. You never felt part of the Chen family. He slammed the door. My mom sighed and patted my hand. Sweetheart. What are you going to do about this? Mom, don't worry about it. I have a plan. Back in my room, I locked the door. I opened the surveillance app on my phone. 9 p.m. My mother-in-law. My brother-in-law Chen Seheo. His wife Lu Wan walked in, loaded with bags, beaming. My mother-in-law's voice dripped with smug satisfaction. How, Wanner, isn't this place wonderful? 120 square meters, 3 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, great flow. Renovation cost over 300K. All top-notch materials. Chen Seheo whistled. Mom, you're amazing. Did my brother really convince sis-in-law? Mother-in-law snorted. He'd better. Marry into Chen family, follow Chen rules. This place is yours now. If Serena Shen knows what's good, she'll hand it over. If she doesn't, I have plenty of ways to make her. Lu Wan, with her rounded belly, chimed in syrupy. The nursery is perfect. Our baby will live here. As long as you like it, mother-in-law grinned. You two just settle in. No rush finding jobs. Take your time. As long as your mother's here, you won't suffer. I watched the happy family scene on my screen. A slow, cold smile curling my lips. So it wasn't a temporary stay. They were planning to steal the nest right out from under me. Did Shanshan know? Of course he did. In fact, he'd probably allowed it. I turned off my phone. I walked to the window, looking at the night city lights. This city is full of light. One should have been mine. But now, a bunch of thieves had taken it. It's fine, though. My things, Serena Shen's things, have never been that easy to take. Early the next morning, I walked to the window, gazing at the city lights in the night. This city is ablaze with light, and one lamp should have been mine. But now it's occupied by robbers. No matter. My things, Shen Qingwan's things, are never so easily taken. Early next morning, I called my old contact, Zhou, from the real estate agency. Zhou's my college friend's brother, a decade in business. He's well connected and gets things done. Zhou, list my apartment at Jinsho Garden for sale. Qingwan, didn't you just finish renovating that place? Why sell it now? Zhou was surprised. Personal reasons. I didn't explain further. Also, do me a favor. Find me a reliable moving company. I need guys who are efficient. No small talk. I need them this afternoon. Zhou was silent on the other end for a couple of seconds. He probably guessed something was up. Didn't ask, just said, all right. I'll arrange it. Next, I called the property management. Hello. This is Serena Shen, owner of Unit 903, Building 9. I need to check if anyone has changed the locks on my unit. In the last couple of days. The property manager checked the records. Miss Shen, yes. A Ms. Wang came by with a locksmith the day before yesterday. Said she was your mother-in-law, had a key, but thought the lock was unsafe and wanted it changed. We verified her identity and let them through. Did I authorize this lock change? Well, Ms. Wang said she had discussed it with you and you agreed. I did not agree. My voice was ice cold. What she did was bring someone to change the locks on my property without my presence. Without my knowledge. That's illegal trespassing. I need you to provide the security footage from that time. And the locksmith's contact information. Miss Shen, this sounds like a family dispute. Property management shouldn't get involved. I repeat, I'm the owner. She changed my locks without my knowledge. If you don't cooperate, I'll call the police and sue her and property management. Miss Shen, please don't get upset. We'll cooperate. We'll definitely cooperate. After hanging up, I called Attorney Lee. Attorney Lee is my mom's friend, 20 plus years in law. She's seen it all and is sharp as a tack. Auntie Lee? I need to consult you on something. Qingwan. Someone changed my apartment locks without my knowledge. And has moved people in. Does that constitute illegal trespassing? Absolutely. Attorney Lee's tone turned serious. Your apartment, the deed is solely in your name? No one can enter without your permission, let alone change the locks and move in. Your mother-in-law's actions, at best, are civil trespass. At worst, they could carry criminal liability. If I want to sue, what do I need? The property deed, your ID, security footage, locksmith testimony, chat logs, or call recordings between your mother-in-law and your ex-husband. The more evidence, the better. Good, I understand. Qingwan. Auntie Lee, they burned the bridge first. At 2 p.m., I was at the agent's office signing the listing. Priced at 5% below market. Only one condition, all cash, and a quick closing. By 3 o'clock. 4 movers arrived downstairs at Jinsho Gardens. I gave them the passcode. Told them to take out everything that didn't belong to me. Dumped it all in the hallway. Every last thing. By 4. I got a call from Sean. He was frantic and furious on the other end. Sis. What is this? You hired movers? All our stuff, they've thrown it all out. Sean, I said, my voice flat. That's my house. You all moved in without my permission. I haven't called the cops. That's the only mercy you're getting for being family. I'm giving you 2 hours to clear that junk from the hallway. Then I'll call the junk collectors. Does my brother know? Your brother? He thinks my apartment is Chen family property, just like your mom. You tell him this, Serena Shin is not some pushover. You can't walk all over me. I hung up and checked the security feed. On the screen, my mother-in-law was sitting on the floor, wailing. Sean was pacing back and forth in the hallway. Luan stood there, looking utterly lost. The 4 movers had already cleared everything out. They stood by the door. The foreman said, expressionless, "Ma'am, we're just following orders." Don't make this hard. She pointed and shrieked. This is robbery. I'm calling the police. Go ahead, call the cops. Let them see the trespassing. Her wailing stopped dead. I watched the 3 of them on screen, looking pathetic. I felt no thrill. No guilt. Just a cold, quiet certainty. This is just the beginning. Sean showed up at my parents' place at 7 that night. He stormed in, his face ashen. His suit was askew, tie crooked, like he rushed from the office. Serena, have you lost your mind? He roared. My mom, who was serving soup, jumped, nearly dropping the bowl. My dad came out of his study, his face like thunder. Sean. What's with the shouting? His voice was low but filled the room. Sean took a sharp breath, but his tone was still sharp. Dad. Look. Look what your daughter did. She threw my mother and brother's family out. All their belongings are dumped in the hallway. What are you yelling about? My dad's voice isn't loud. But it's very intimidating. Chen Xiuan took a deep breath. He tried to calm his anger, but his tone was still sharp. Dad. Look what your daughter has done. She hired people to throw my mother and my brother's family out of the house, all their stuff dumped in the hallway. My mom is over 60, she sat on the ground crying all afternoon. Now her blood pressure's through the roof. I put down my chopsticks. I looked at him. Sean Chen. That's my house. Not your mom's, not your brother's. I told them to move out. What's the problem? That was my mom. My own brother. His voice rose again. They were only staying there temporarily. How could you? Do you have any human decency left? Human decency? I stood up. I looked him in the eye. When your mom changed my locks. Where was the human decency then? When she moved your brother and his whole family into my home. Where was the human decency? When she put those tacky red sheets on the bed in my master bedroom, when she set up a crib in my guest room, where was the human decency then? That was my mom's idea. Not mine. But you allowed it. I said, slowly and clearly. You knew. You agreed. You didn't stop it. Sean Chen. Between me and your mother, you've sided with her 3 times. First, with my closet. Into a nursery, you said, Mom has a point. The second time. Then the wall paint was too light, you said, I'll talk to her. The third time, when she changed the locks and took over the house. You said, don't be so petty, we're family. I watched his face grow pale. My voice was ice cold. 3 strikes, Sean. I've given you your chances. His lips were trembling. From anger or fear, who knows? What do you want? I want a divorce. The room fell silent for 3 seconds. My mom's soup spoon clattered to the floor. My dad didn't speak, but his hands clenched into fists. Sean Chen's face went from ashen to ghostly white. He was speechless. It took him forever to speak. You're serious? I never joke about things like this. I pulled a folder from my bag and put it on the table. Divorce papers. My lawyer drafted them. As for marital assets, you can keep whatever's in your salary account. My apartment is my premarital property. It's not up for division. If no objections, sign it. We'll go to the registry tomorrow. He stared down at the papers. His hands were shaking. After a moment, he looked up at me, his eyes red. Serena, we've been together for 3 years. You're throwing it all away over this? Over this? I let out a short laugh. Sean Chen, you think this is a small thing? My mom just had a momentary lapse. I've already talked to her. She promised to move out. Move out? I cut him off. Sean Chen, get this straight. She's not promising to move out. I had her removed. If I hadn't taken action, she'd still be lying in my master bedroom, sleeping in my bed, waiting for me to hand over my apartment to your brother. Speechless, lips trembling, he choked out, but you didn't have to go that far. I took 2 steps forward, closing the distance between us. Close enough to see my own reflection in his eyes. Sean, your mom changed my locks. Was that okay? You moved your brother into my home. Was that okay? Did it even cross her mind that it was my marital bed? When she set up that crib in the spare room, did she ever consider that room was meant for my future child? My voice finally cracked, but not from weakness. It was the cold, hollow fury of utter betrayal. Your family celebrated in my home. Did anyone think about how I, Serena, felt? Sean Chen was utterly silenced. The room was silent, only the clock ticking. After a long moment, he hung his head. He whispered, the apartment, you're selling it? It's already listed. He looked up, shocked. When did you list it? This afternoon. Serena, he roared. Are you insane? We never lived there. We spent $400K on it. Exactly. We never lived there. So selling it is fine. Since when did it become our apartment? The deed is in my name. My parents paid for everything. Did you or your family contribute a single cent? All the color drained from his face. Your Chen family put in nothing, yet you took my home? My voice was calm, measured, every word cutting through the silence. Sean, do you think the world works that way? He stood frozen, like a tree struck by lightning. My mom tugged my sleeve. Qingwan, enough, she whispered. I steadied myself and picked up the divorce papers. I held them out to Sean Chen. Sign. Sign it, and we go our separate ways. After this, your mother can live wherever she pleases. Your brother can mooch off whoever lets him. Just want to take my house for themselves. My voice is clear and steady, every word deliberate. Chen Siyuan, do you think in this world nothing comes that easy? He stood there, like a tree struck by lightning, motionless. My mom came over, tugged my sleeve, and whispered. Qingwan, that's enough. I took a deep breath, calmed myself, and picked up the divorce papers. Handed them to Chen Siyuan. Sign. Sign, and we go our separate ways. Your mom can live wherever she wants. Your brother can take whatever house he fancies. That has nothing to do with me. He didn't take it. I won't sign. Sign or not, it won't matter. I put the papers on the table. You have 3 days. If you don't sign, I'll file for divorce directly. If the court grants it, it won't be a mutual agreement anymore. It'll be a court-ordered divorce. Doesn't sound great, does it? Serena Shen, you're threatening me. I'm just stating facts. I smiled slightly. But if you think it's a threat, then sure. Sean Chen stood in the living room for a solid 5 minutes. Finally, he picked up the agreement, didn't even look at it, and turned to leave. The moment the door closed, my mom finally broke down. She looked at me, her eyes red. Qingwan, are you sure about this? I'm sure. After the divorce, what will you do? Mom, I have a job, an apartment, the ability to support myself. I took her hand. I'm not afraid of anything. I refuse to be tied to a man who never valued me for a lifetime. My dad was silent for a long time, then finally spoke. My girl's right. If it's over, it's over. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, reliving every moment of these last 3 years in my head. The first time Sean Chen came to my house, my mom made 8 dishes. Auntie, you're a great cook. My mom was over the moon. Later, he moved into my place, ate my mom's cooking, drove my dad's car. Every holiday, all the gifts he ever bought for my parents combined cost less than $500. For my birthday, gave me a cheap Taba scarf. Said, don't catch a cold. Don't catch a cold. Back then, I actually thought he was thoughtful. Now, thinking back, the massage chair he bought for his mom? Over 3,000. It's not the money, it's his heart. No room for me. His mom, his brother, even his brother's wife's unborn baby. I gave him chances. Right after we got married, he gave his salary card to his mom. I tried to discuss it. Maybe we should manage our own money? He got upset. Said I was looking down on his mother. His brother borrowed for a car. But it was really a handout. 50,000 gone. No thanks. I mentioned it, he got upset. Said I looked down on his family. And then? His mom started pushing for a baby. Calling every other day. Gossiping about daughters-in-law, grandsons. I'd just gotten a promotion then, didn't want a child so soon. I talked to him. Let's wait a couple more years. He said okay. Then turned right around and told his mom I didn't want kids. Made her so angry she called and screamed at me for half an hour. He was always like that. Pushing every single problem onto me. He always, without fail, takes his family side in everything. Then shuts me up with that we're family, don't be petty line. Family? They treat me like an outsider. Family tries to steal my apartment. I owe them nothing. 3 days later, Shanshan didn't show up to sign the divorce papers. He blew up my phone. I ignored every call. Dozens of WeChat messages too. First, apologies. Then pleas for mercy. Then threats. Said he'd ruin my reputation. I didn't reply to a single one. Just blocked his number. Meanwhile, through Zhou, I found a buyer. A young couple in their early 30s, both university professors. Their kid needs school, desperate for residency. They fell in love with my place. Said the decor was exactly their style. Move-in ready. Full payment in cash. 3% above the asking price. Only one condition. Fast-track the transfer, signed without thought. Took deposit, property bureau, done in a week. The apartment sold. 2.3 million in my account. After paying off the mortgage and agent fees, nearly 2 million left. I transferred 500K to my parents. They absolutely refused to take it. I said, this is the money you put down for the down payment. Returning it is only right. Mom's eyes welled up. She said, silly child, we bought you that place to help you. Not to get paid back. I said, Mom, just take it. Consider it savings for me. For later. If things go south, I'll still need you. She laughed through tears, took the money. Of the rest, I set aside a chunk for emergencies. Bought a low-risk financial product, and rented a small apartment. Near the office. 1 bedroom, 1 living room. Not big, but clean. South-facing, gets great sun. The day I moved, I dragged 1 suitcase and carried a backpack. Took the subway to my new rented place. On the way, I passed by that building in Jinsho Gardens. I looked up at the 9th floor. On the balcony, a row of freshly washed clothes was hanging. The professor's laundry. Sunlight shone on those clothes, gently fluttering in the breeze. It looked warm and peaceful. Good. That apartment finally found its real owners. And my new life starts right now. Shanshan found out 3 days later. That day, he called me like a madman. When he realized he was blocked, he called from his mom's phone. Serena Shen. You sold the apartment? His voice was trembling. Rage or despair, who knows? Sold it. I leaned back in my office chair, my tone utterly flat. You can't, that apartment, that's my apartment. I can sell whatever I want. Cutting him off. Shanshan. We're done. You have no right to question anything I do. We're not done. We're not divorced yet. Soon. I said, if you don't sign soon, I'm filing a lawsuit. Forced divorce strips you of even mutual agreement's dignity. Heavy breathing is heard on the other end of the line. After a few seconds, he suddenly laughed. A laugh tinged with something hysterical. Serena Shin, you're something else. Just you wait. You'll get what's coming. Is none of your concern. I hang up. I block his number again. That night, I go back to my rented apartment, take a shower, put on some comfortable clothes, and sit on the windowsill. Looking at the city's night view, my phone vibrates. It's a message from Zhou Lu. Qingwan. The apartment deal is done. The buyer is very pleased. Says he'll even refer clients to you. I text back, thanks, Zhou. Then I open a food delivery app and order some spicy hot pot. When it arrives, I sit on the bay window, eating and watching a show. Halfway through, it suddenly hits me. It's been years since I felt this relaxed. I've been living under the shadow of the Chen family, carefully maintaining a surface-level harmony. Never daring to talk back to my mother-in-law. Never daring to argue with Shan Chen. Never daring to tell anyone about my grievances. When my parents asked how I was, I'd always say, I'm fine. When friends wanted to hang out, I'd always say, I have to be with Siyuan. I turned my own life into an accessory to someone else's. I smoothed down all my edges, just to make that family think I was the perfect daughter-in-law. My perfect daughter-in-law status got me locked out. Gets her apartment taken over, the perfect daughter-in-law, and treated like a doormat. I'm done. Can go to whoever wants it. In the end, Shan Chen did sign the divorce papers, not because he came to his senses, because he got served with court papers. Filed for divorce, irretrievable breakdown, asset preservation requested, part of his salary account frozen. We're frozen. He finally realized I was serious. This wasn't a tantrum. This wasn't a threat. I was really cutting him off for good. The day we signed, we met outside the Civil Affairs Bureau. He wore the shirt I bought, collar wrinkled. Dark circles, looked sleep-deprived. He stood on the steps, his voice hoarse. Do we have to do this? Read the agreement? I didn't answer him. I have. Any objections? No. Then sign it. He lowered his head and signed the papers. I signed my name and handed the agreement to the clerk. The whole process took less than 10 minutes. When we stepped out, the sunlight was blinding. Shan Chen was behind me. He called my name. I stopped, but I didn't turn around. What are you going to do now? He asked. It's none of your business, I said. Serena. I'm sorry. I walked into the parking lot, got in the car. I started the engine. He grew smaller in the rear view, until it disappeared into the traffic. 9 years. From meeting to marriage to divorce. It was all over. It would be a lie to say it didn't hurt. 9 years is a long time. Over 2,000 days. Even a stone held close would have warmed up by now. But Shan Chen wasn't a stone. He was a living, breathing person. Flesh and blood. A man with feelings and warmth. His feelings, his warmth. They were just never meant for me. The car was silent. Only the low hum of the engine. I gripped the steering wheel. And the tears just started falling. Not sobbing. Just flowing quietly. Drop by drop, onto the back of my hand. I wasn't crying for Shan Chen. I cried for the Serena Shen who once fiercely believed in love. Who believed in marriage so completely. She died. Died on the doorstep of a home with changed locks. Died on that garish peony bedsheet. Died with Shan Chen's words, don't be so stingy with family. But starting today, she's going to live again. The day after the divorce was finalized, I got a notification from Jingqing law firm. My resume passed. They called me for an interview. I applied for a legal assistant position. The pay wasn't great, but the growth potential was huge. I studied law in college. Took the bar exam the year I graduated. Missed it by 3 points. Ended up as in-house counsel. And I stayed. For 5 years. In those 5 years, I turned myself into a machine, processing contracts, and handling disputes. Every day, staring at standard clauses, soul-crushingly dull. The divorce made one thing crystal clear. I couldn't keep sleepwalking through my life. I had to get back to myself. Do what I truly wanted. On interview day, I wore a black suit. Light makeup. Arrived at the firm 20 minutes early. Jingqing law firm. Right in the city center. It's a whole floor in a downtown skyscraper. Clean decor, pro receptionist. The partner is a woman in her 40s named Sheen, with short hair. Sharp, efficient. White shirt, rolled sleeves. She has this habit of tapping her fingers on the desk when she talks. Serena Shen. I've looked over your resume. Law degree, 5 years of in-house legal experience. Failed the bar exam by 3 points. She flips through the pages. Looks up at me. Why did you leave your last position? Because I want to be a lawyer. In-house counsel. Isn't that a good gig? Stable, 9 to 5, no overtime. Too stable. I smile. So stable. I felt like a machine. Lawyer Cheen stares at me for a few seconds, then suddenly smiles. Well, you're honest. I'm here for this job. No point in lying. She flips to the last page of my resume. Her finger pauses over the marital status section. Divorced. Yes. May I ask the reason? My ex-husband led his family. Took my dowry flat. Changed locks. Tried to steal it. I say it calmly, like I'm talking about someone else. I got divorced. Sold the place, starting over. Lawyer Cheen's expression changes. Not pity. Appreciation. She puts the resume down. Leans back in her chair, gives me a once-over. Do you hate him? No. Hate is an emotion that consumes you. I don't want to waste any more feelings on someone who isn't worth it. She nods, silent for a moment. Then she says something. I still remember to this day. Serena Shen. You're hired. Start Monday. 3-month probation. Walking out of the law firm. I text Jingsu. Jingsu was my college classmate. She joined a firm right after graduation. Now she's a fairly well-known divorce and family lawyer. I tell her I got the offer from Jingqing. She replies instantly with 3 texts. Holy crap, congrats. Zhangqing's tough. What did you take? Smart pills? Starting Monday, right? I'm taking you out to celebrate. Jing and I meet at a Hunan restaurant, order a table full of spicy dishes. Our lips are burning. Jing is shoveling spicy fish head into her mouth, while telling me about the divorce cases she's been handling lately. You wouldn't believe the crazies I've seen. Last month, this woman comes to me. Says her husband transferred their house to his mom. Then, his mom sold it to his cousin. 3 transfers later. She fought in court for 2 years just to get half the money back. Jing taps her chopsticks on the table. Marriage law, let's be real, is property law. You think you're marrying for love? Actually, you married into a financial partnership. When love dies, what's left is just splitting the assets. So you still handle divorce cases? Yes, why wouldn't I? She smiled faintly. That someone needs to handle them. I help the women who've been wronged get their money back. Helping them start over is more meaningful. Looking into Jingsu's bright, determined eyes, I suddenly felt I'd come to the right place. My start date was Monday. The firm assigned me a divorce asset dispute case. The plaintiff was a 35-year-old woman. Mandy Fong. Married for 8 years. Mother of 2. Her husband cheated, hid assets, and threw her out with nothing. When Mandy first came to the firm, she was wearing a faded, washed-out hoodie. Her hair was in a messy ponytail, dark circles under her eyes. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Sitting in the conference room, her hands clutched a canvas bag so tightly her knuckles were white. Attorney Shen, I really don't have money for a lawyer. Her voice was tiny, like she was afraid of being overheard. Mandy, for a case like yours, we can apply for legal aid. You won't have to pay the fees. I poured her a glass of water and sat across from her. Tell me what happened. Start from the beginning, every detail. She took the water, sipped it, and began to speak. At first, she spoke slowly, as if each word was a struggle to force out. But as she went on, her voice grew louder, her words faster, her eyes redder and redder. She and her husband were college sweethearts. They built a life here after graduation. He was in sales. They scrimped and saved for 5 years. They bought a house, then she got pregnant. Quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom, quickly had their second, and never went back to work. For 8 years. She washed, cooked, raised kids, cared for his parents, kept the household running perfectly. Her husband climbed from a regular sales rep to regional manager. More business dinners, less time at home. Colder and colder towards her. I didn't think much of it at first. She thought he was just stressed and busy. Mandy's voice began to tremble. Then one time, I found a lipstick stain on the collar of a shirt he'd worn. He said a colleague accidentally brushed against him. I believed him. Tears started falling, drop by drop, onto the table. After that, he stopped coming home. Maybe 2 or 3 days a week. Sometimes I wouldn't see him for half a month. He wouldn't answer my calls or reply to my messages. When I went to his office, he said right in front of his colleagues, "Stop making a scene at my work. You're embarrassing yourself." Mandy Fong covered her face, her shoulders shaking. She was crying quietly, no sound, just trembling. 2 months ago, he suddenly told me he wanted a divorce. I wouldn't get the house, the car, or the kids. He said I'd been at home for 8 years, never earned a dime. That everything in this house, he earned it. I said, "We bought it together. My savings paid the down payment." He said, "Can you prove it? You didn't have a job back then." "Your savings? That was my money too." I handed her a tissue. I waited for her to finish crying before asking, "Mandy, do you have proof he's been hiding assets?" "Yes." She wiped her tears and pulled a stack of papers from her canvas bag. 6-month bank statements show transfers to his mother. Over 800,000 in total. These are his chat logs with that woman. I secretly took screenshots. And this is a text message from his female coworker, saying she and my husband have been together for 3 years. Telling me to be smart and sign the divorce papers. I flipped through, heart sinking with each page. This wasn't just an affair. This was premeditated. A calculated plan to hide assets. Her husband had spent over half a year, slowly transferring their shared marital property into his mother's name. And then he files for divorce, forcing Mandy to leave with nothing. I've read about things like this in textbooks. Heard about them in Jing Su's gossip. But facing a client living through it. The helplessness, the rage, stronger than I imagined. "Mandy, this evidence is crucial." I straightened the stack of papers and looked at her. "Don't worry. I will fight this case for you with everything I've got." "Serena, can I really get the money back?" Her eyes held a fragile, desperate hope. Like a drowning person seeing a piece of driftwood in the distance. "The law will give you justice." I said it seriously. Not because I wanted to comfort her, but because I truly believed it. Mandy Fong's case became my first case since joining the firm. I spent a week organizing evidence, checking bank statements, pulling transfer records, taking witness statements. Chin took the case very seriously. He personally took me to court. The day of the hearing, Mandy Fong's husband hired a very expensive lawyer, all suited up. Every word was calculated, claiming to Mandy that those transfers were normal household financial dealings. A son's filial gift to his mother, not a property transfer. Chin didn't rush. He calmly laid out the evidence chain. The timing of the transfers happened to be in the 3 months, right before Mandy's husband filed for divorce. Amounts ranged from tens of thousands to over 100,000. They went into a separate account under his mother's name. And that account, the very next day after receiving the money, transferred it all to a stranger's account. Your Honor, this is a classic case of malicious dissipation of marital assets. Chin's voice wasn't loud, but every word carried weight. During the marriage, the defendant, without the plaintiff's consent, transferred joint marital property to a third party. This act has severely infringed upon the plaintiff's legal rights. According to Article 1066 of the Civil Code, if, during the marriage, one party conceals, transfers, sells, damages, squanders joint marital property, or fabricates joint marital debts, and such actions seriously harm the interests of the joint property, the other party may petition for division of the joint property. The opposing counsel tried to argue back, saying the money was a filial gift, not malicious. Chin just smiled. He presented new evidence. A witness statement from Mandy's mother-in-law's neighbor, proving that after receiving the money, The mother-in-law didn't use it for her own expenses. Instead, she transferred it all to Mandy's husband's mistress. Your Honor, the defendant's so-called filial piety was merely a front for transferring assets. These funds ultimately flowed to a third party's account. And that third party is the defendant's affair partner. A gasp rippled through the gallery. The judge demanded an answer. Where did this money actually go? Answer truthfully. The defendant stammered, unable to speak. Finally, the court granted the divorce. The plaintiff was awarded 70%, over $800,000 transferred. Was ruled as maliciously dissipated assets, to be fully recovered. Mandy also won custody of both children. The husband must pay monthly child support. Leaving the courthouse, Mandy hugged me and cried for a long time. She said, "Serena, thank you. You saved my life." I told her, "Mandy, from now on, live well. For yourself, and for your children." Watching Mandy Fong disappear around the corner, I stood on the courthouse steps, the sun warming my skin. Chin, my senior lawyer, walked over. She handed me a coffee. "How do you feel?" "Great. This is law. You help one person, you save one person." She took a sip of her coffee. "Serena, you have talent, and you work hard. Keep it up." "Thank you, Chin." That night, I went back to my rented apartment. After a shower, I lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Mandy's pale face kept flashing in my mind. And that look of utter relief when she walked out of the courthouse. It hit me then. What I'm doing now. It's not just a job. It's a kind of power. A force that lets me stand up on my own. And helps others stand up too. I was once a woman. Bullied, used, and discarded in a marriage. But I was different. I had my parents' support. I had legal knowledge. A brain that works. So I could turn things around when I hit rock bottom. But Mandy? She had none of that. Just an ordinary housewife. 8 years out of the workforce. No savings, no connections. Without legal aid. She couldn't even afford a lawyer. There are too many Mandys in this world. And what I can do, is help them, one by one, stand up. The days that followed were fast and full. Days at the firm, handling cases, drafting documents, meeting with clients. Nights at home, cramming for the bar exam. Studying until 1 or 2 a.m. was the norm. Weekends, maybe a quick meal with Jingsu. Or spending the whole day alone at the library. The name, Sean Chen. It slowly faded from my life. Not because I was trying to forget, but because my life was filled with new things. Work, study, cases, clients, friends, family. Each one 100 times more important than Sean Chen. But I never expected. Just when I thought everything was settled, he showed up again. It was a Saturday, a rare day off. I was at home, reviewing past bar exam questions. The doorbell rang. I opened the door, thinking it was my food. Standing there was Sean Chen. He'd lost a lot of weight. Cheeks hollow, eyes sunken. Wearing a crumpled jacket. He looked like he hadn't showered in days. He was holding a bouquet of red roses, the petals already wilting. Like he'd bought them days ago and never got to give them. His eyes welled up instantly. "Serena." I tried to close the door, but he blocked it. "Don't close the door. I just need to say a few things." His voice was trembling. I took a step back. Leaning against the wall, I looked at him. "Go on." "Serena, I was wrong." Tears started falling. A grown man. Standing at my doorstep crying like a child. "I truly know. I messed up. I regret it. I regret it every single day. I regret not standing by your side back then. I regret letting my mom and your brother's family move in. I regret signing those divorce papers. Serena, can you just give me one more chance?" I looked at him, feeling nothing inside. Only a cold, detached sort of observation. "Sean Chen, where's your mother?" I asked. "My mom, she went back to our hometown." He wiped his tears. "She knows she was wrong. She shouldn't have done those things. She told me to apologize." "What about your brother's family?" They rented a place. They're living outside now. Wanlu is about to give birth. My brother, he's delivering takeout now. Times are tough. But they're getting by, I guess. Did your mom scheme against your sister-in-law again? He fell silent. I answered for him. Of course she has. She took out your savings and paid for half a year's rent for your brother? That over 100,000? Is it already gone, taken by your mom? Shan Chen's face changed. How did you know? I guessed. I gave a slight smile. I know what kind of person your mother is better than you do. She won't change who she is just because she messed up once. She just found a new angle. To keep playing the perfect mother-in-law, the perfect mom. And you? Shan Chen. You're still the son who never learned how to say no. His mouth opened and closed, wanting to say something. But in the end, nothing came out. Go home. I said. We're divorced. You have your life, I have mine. Your problems aren't my fault, and I can't fix them. Your mom, your brother, your money, your life. They're all your business now. They have nothing to do with me. But Serena, I still love you. You don't. I cut him off, my voice calm but firm. Every single word I spoke hammered into his ears like a nail. You never loved me. What you loved was everything I could give you. My parents' apartment. My dowry, my salary, my patience, my compromises. You loved a woman who wouldn't fight back. A fool who wouldn't argue with you, who'd give you everything. And let your family walk all over her. No, that's not. Shan Chen. When your mother put those red peony sheets on our marital bed. Did you speak up for me? When your brother and his family moved into my apartment, did you even think about me? When your mother changed the locks, took over my home, and threw me out like a stranger? Whose side were you on? He was silent for a long time, head down, shoulders shaking. You were on her side. I answered for him. Every single time, you were on her side. So don't you dare come here and say you loved me. Your love is worthless. He placed that bouquet of roses on the doormat and turned to leave. Before he went, he didn't look back. I closed the door, leaned against it, and let out a long, deep breath. Saying all that, I felt no anger, no sadness, not even a flicker of emotion. It was like reading an old, archived case file. All those feelings, I'd used them all up. During the divorce trial, what was left was just the calm of finality. I walked back to the living room, picked up the practice exam book, and kept studying. That bouquet sat by the door all day. In the evening, when I went out to take the trash, I tossed it in the bin. 2 more months passed. The bar exam results came out. I passed. 402 total. 40 above passing. When I saw the score, I just sat there at my computer, stunned. Then the tears, they just started falling without warning. Not from sadness. From pure, overwhelming relief. This past year, work all day, study all night, live in the library. Even New Year's, I was buried in practice, cut off friends. Turned down every invitation. Locked myself in that tiny apartment, memorizing statutes, analyzing cases. Writing essays over and over. Those late-night lights. Those pre-dawn alarms, those practice books worn to shreds. In this moment, it all had an answer. I called my mom. On the other end of the line, she was crying harder than I was. Sobbing, she said, "Sweetheart, I knew you could do it." My dad shouted in the background, "Kiddo, I'm making your favorite ribs. Come home." Jing-Su texted. Dozens of voice messages. Each one full of exclamation points and ha 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 ha. The last one said, "Serena Shen. You absolute legend. You actually conquered the bar exam. Is there anything you can't do?" Attorney Chin posted a message in the firm's group chat. "Congratulations to Serena Shen on passing the bar exam. You can call me Sis Chin from now on. You've earned it." I read that message. I couldn't help but smile. After passing the bar exam, I went from being a paralegal at Jingqing law firm to a junior associate. Chin became my mentor. She taught me everything, from handling lawsuits and drafting briefs, to cross-examining witnesses like Mandy Fong in court. The internship was even busier than before, but way more rewarding. I started handling small cases on my own. The stakes weren't huge, but every single case meant actually solving a real problem for someone. One case was particularly memorable. It was an old lady suing her own son and daughter-in-law. She was in her 70s. After her husband passed, she'd been living with them. They treated her terribly, constantly yelling at her, not even giving her enough to eat. They even took the life savings she'd scraped together. She endured it for 3 years. She came to our firm for help. When I went to her neighborhood to investigate, her son and daughter-in-law played cards downstairs. They looked mean. The old woman lived in a converted garage. No windows, damp and dark. The bed had a moldy blanket, and on the nightstand was a bowl of leftovers, covered in ants. I took a lot of photos, gathered evidence, and drafted the complaint. We sued the son and daughter-in-law to return the money and pay alimony. On the day of the hearing, the son yelled and cursed in court. They accused me of breaking their family. The judge banged the gavel to silence him. The court ruled in the old lady's favor. The son and daughter-in-law not only had to return the money, but also pay $2,000 a month in support. When she got the judgment, the old lady grabbed my hand. Tears streamed down her face. "Thank you." "For an old woman like me," I said, "Grandma. The law did that. I just helped you get to it." In that moment, I suddenly understood what Chin had said. Helping one person is saving one person. The law isn't about punishing people, it's about protecting those who need protection. And I was lucky enough to be the one to hand that legal weapon to them. On my last day of the internship, the firm threw a little celebration for me becoming a full associate. Celebration is a strong word, they basically just bought a cake. And we all ate it together. Chin handed me a brand new attorney's license. "From today on, Serena Shen, you are a licensed attorney at Jingqing Law Firm." I took the certificate, opened it, and looked at my photo. I was smiling so brightly. "Thank you, Chin. Don't thank me. You earned this yourself." She patted my shoulder. "Serena, the road ahead is long. There will be tough cases, difficult clients, and challenging judges. But I know you can handle it. Because you're the most determined person I've ever met." That night, back in my apartment, I placed the law license on my nightstand, looking at it over and over. From the divorce, to selling the house, to joining the firm, to passing the bar, to getting this license, 1.5 years. I went from the good daughter-in-law kicked out by her mother-in-law, to a licensed attorney who can protect people, who can fight for justice for others. Fate is a strange thing. It doesn't knock you down to leave you there to die. It's so that when you finally climb out of that pit, you'll stand firmer and see farther than anyone else. The second month after getting my license, I took on a case. The plaintiff was Lin Xiao, 28, married for 2 years, no kids. Her husband, Zhao Lei, worked at a bank. Decent income. When Lin Xiao got married, her family gave her a dowry apartment, in her name. You guessed it. Almost exactly like my story. Zhao Lei's mom moved in after the wedding, saying she was there to take care of the young couple. Once she moved in, she started bossing everyone around. Complained Lin Xiao's cooking was terrible. Said she was a slob, that she didn't earn enough. Zhao Lei always took his mother's side. Said she meant well. Told Lin Xiao not to be so sensitive. Then, Zhao Lei's mother proposed selling their old house back home and using the money to live with her son and daughter-in-law. Lin Xiao refused. The mother-in-law threw a huge tantrum at home, calling Lin Xiao selfish, disrespectful, looking down on country folk. Zhao Lei got upset too. He gave Lin Xiao the silent treatment for a week. Then, Lin Xiao discovered a huge chunk of their savings was gone. Checked the transfers. Found out Zhao Lei had secretly sent the money to his mom. She confronted Zhao Lei. Zhao Lei said it was money to support his elderly mother. That Lin Xiao was being petty. Lin Xiao endured it for 2 years, until she couldn't take it anymore. She searched online for a lot of divorce cases. Finally, she found a way to contact me. At our first meeting, she sat across from me. Her eyes were red, but she wasn't crying. Her hands kept trembling. But her voice was steady. Serena, I want a divorce. I've made up my mind. She took a deep breath. I don't want to become the third you. I was stunned for a second. Then I smiled. You know about me? I've read the articles you posted. The ones about protecting premarital assets. She looked at me. There was something complex in her eyes. Like gratitude. And also admiration. The things you wrote. Flipping through her documents made me understand. Suddenly, this strange feeling welled up inside me. A year ago. My mother-in-law kicked me out, a pathetic wretch. Licking my wounds in some corner of the city. And now, here I am, sitting in this chair, as a practicing attorney. Helping another woman who's been through hell just like I was. Fighting for her rights. This is why I chose to become a lawyer. Not for the money. Not for some fancy title. Just to tell all those women who are being bullied, exploited, treated like outsiders. In their own marriages. You are not alone. You have the law on your side. You have me on your side. Lin Xiao's case went a lot smoother than I expected. Zhao Lei and his mother tried to lie in court. Said I was meddling, ruining their marriage. Said Lin Xiao was making a mountain out of a molehill. But when I laid out the bank transfer records, the chat screenshots, the recordings of that which bad-mouthing Lin Xiao, right in front of them, the look on their faces was like kids caught red-handed in a lie. The judge finally granted the divorce. Lin Xiao keeps the dowry apartment. It's all hers. The money Zhao Lei secretly transferred, ruled as malicious dissipation, all gets returned. Walking out of the courthouse, Lin Xiao grabbed my hand, her eyes glistening. She said something I'll never forget. Serena, thank you. Before this, I thought divorce was something shameful. But seeing you, I realized divorce isn't the scary part. What's scary is spending life with someone who doesn't see you as human. I smiled. Lin Xiao, your life will be so much better. Believe me. She nodded hard, then turned and walked away. The sunlight hit her from behind. Like it was outlining her in gold. I watched her go. She vanished into the crowd. Maybe one day, I'll meet someone who truly loves me, respects me, and is willing to put me first. Maybe I won't. But either way, I'm no longer that Shenqingwan who needs someone else's love to prove her own worth. I have my career, I have my clients. I have my legal weapons. I have the power to protect myself. And the power to protect others. That's enough. Not long after Lin Xiao's case ended, my mom called me. On the other end of the line. Her voice carried a kind of cautious probing. Jingwan, dear, have you met any new friends lately? Mom. I'm too busy at work to meet anyone. Well, have you thought about finding someone new? Mom. It's only been a year and a half. I'm just worried about you. You're all alone out there, not eating or sleeping well. I can't rest easy. If you could find someone who truly cares for you, I'd feel a lot better. Mom, I'm doing fine now. Work is busy, sure, but I'm happy. As for finding someone, let it happen naturally. Staring blankly at the ceiling. Finding someone. Honestly, I've thought about it, but I'm not looking. Marriage, for me, is no longer a necessity in life. Having one failed marriage is like once burned, twice shy. It's not fear, it's clarity. That night, I was working late at the firm. Around 11. I packed up to leave. When I got downstairs, I realized it was pouring. I stood there, hesitating. Should I run? A voice came from behind. Attorney Shen. No umbrella? I turned around. I saw a young man standing by the elevator, holding a long-handled umbrella. He was wearing a dark gray trench coat and metal-framed glasses. He had a very clean, refined air about him. I recognized him. His name was Zhou Lu. He was a partner at the firm next door. We often saw each other in the elevator, but we'd never spoken. Attorney Lou. I nodded. Forgot my umbrella. Let me walk you to the subway. You'll catch a cold. Thank you. We walked side by side in the rain. His umbrella was large. The wind blew, soaking his shoulder. I noticed he was tilting the umbrella significantly towards me. Attorney Lou, you should move the umbrella over to your side. You're getting drenched. It's fine. It was a faint smile, but a nice one. We reached the subway entrance. I turned around and thanked him. He closed the umbrella. Rainwater dripped down his ribs, pooling at his feet. Serena. He spoke up suddenly. Are you working on a divorce property dispute case lately? The plaintiff is Lin Xiao. How did you know? The defendant in that case, Zhao Lei. His cousin is a client at our firm. He mentioned you when he came for a consultation the other day. Zhou Lu adjusted his glasses. You're a formidable lawyer. I was taken aback for a moment. Then I smiled. Is that a compliment? In my book, it is. He smiled too. Being a lawyer, the hardest part isn't winning cases. It's winning while earning your opponent's respect. You've managed that. I looked at him and suddenly felt, this man. Different than I imagined. Thank you. You're welcome. He handed me the umbrella. Keep it. It's still raining. What about you? My car's in the underground parking. I don't need it. He waved a hand and turned, walking into the rain. Holding that umbrella, I stood at the subway entrance, watching his figure disappear into the curtain of rain. The next day, I washed the umbrella clean, put it in a bag, and left it at the front desk, asking them to pass it to Zhou Lu at the law firm next door. That afternoon, a message came from the front desk. Serena. Zhou Lu says keep the umbrella. His office has another one. If you don't mind, you can keep this one for next time. Reading that message, the corner of my mouth lifted involuntarily. Next time. What an interesting choice of words. What happened after that? Developed slower than I'd anticipated, yet felt more natural than I'd imagined. Zhou Lu is a very intelligent man. He knew I'd been through a failed marriage, knew I was guarded about relationships. So he never rushed, never crossed boundaries, never used cheesy lines or sweet talk to win me over. We started having lunch together occasionally, talking about cases, the law, life. He specializes in commercial arbitration. His cases involve huge financial disputes, millions. A completely different world from my divorce and family law cases. But he never thought my little cases were trivial. He listened seriously when I talked about divorce, custody battles, property division details. Sometimes he'd even offer advice from a commercial law perspective. Once, I couldn't help but ask him, Zhou Lu, why are you interested in me? He thought for a moment. Because you're special. Special how? Most people, after going through what you did, either you lose all hope in life, or you become this bitter, prickly person who pushes everyone away. But you didn't. He looked me right in the eyes, his tone so serious. You still believe in the law, in justice. Some things are worth fighting for. Helping other women who've been hurt, helping them stand back up. It's not about proving anything. You do it because it's the right thing to do. Serena Shen. You're the bravest woman I've ever met. I didn't say anything, but my heart was pounding. Not because of the sweet talk, but because he actually gets me. Shan Chen never understood me. He thought I was too strong-willed, not gentle enough, not devoted enough to our home. He never knew, the reason I became so strong was because I had no one to lean on. If there was a man who stood by my side when I needed him, I could have been that gentle, that soft, vulnerable Serena Shen. But unfortunately, Shan Chen wasn't that man. And Zhou Lu, maybe he is. We weren't officially together, but our relationship, it wasn't just two lawyers from neighboring firms anymore. We became people who had dinner together, watched movies together, strolled by the river until late at night, talking for hours. When Jingsu found out, she was chirping like an excited little bird. Serena Shen. Are you finally dating someone? No, we're just friends. Friends? What kind of friends have dinner every single day and take midnight walks together? Jingsu rolled her eyes. You're so stubborn. You're clearly falling for him, but you just won't admit it. Can't you just be honest with yourself for once? She had me there. Yeah, why wasn't I being honest? I was scared. Scared of getting hurt again, scared of being let down again. Scared of handing my heart over, only to have it thrown on the ground and stomped on. But if I let fear stop me, if I never dared to love again, then how am I any different from those who give up on themselves after a bad marriage? I thought about it for a long time. Finally, I sent Jolu a text. Free this weekend? My treat. I'm free. That weekend, I booked a quiet Japanese restaurant. I got there 10 minutes early. When he arrived, he was wearing a dark blue sweater, his hair slightly damp. Like he'd just showered. You made it, I said. Yeah. Traffic was a nightmare, he said, sitting down and looking at me. You look beautiful today. I smiled but didn't respond. Once all the food arrived, I poured myself a glass of sake. I took a sip, then started to speak. Jolu, I need to tell you something. Go ahead. You know I was married before. My ex-husband is Sean Chen. He let his family take over my apartment. They threw me out. Divorced, sold the house. Started over from scratch. Got into the firm. Passed the bar exam. Got my license. I said it all in one go, watching him. Have you heard any of this before? Bits and pieces. He nodded. But I wanted to hear it from you. I'm not someone without a past. I looked him in the eyes. My past is ugly. My ex and his family. They hurt me. Deeply. It took me a long, long time to get past it. The person I am now, she's different. I'm independent. I'm tough. I don't trust easily. Being with me. It won't be easy for you. Jolu listened quietly until I finished. Then he picked up his cup, took a sip of sake, and set it down. He looked at me. Serena Shen. Your past isn't a flaw. It's your story. Without that story, you wouldn't be the woman who makes my heart race the way you do. My heart skipped a beat. I don't care that you were married. I don't care how tough you are. He continued, his voice soft. But every word was clear and firm. What I care about is whether you'll give me a chance. A chance to prove to you that in this world, not every man is like Sean Chen. I looked at him. My eyes felt hot. Jolu. Do you know what you're saying? I do. He reached out. Gently took my hand resting on the table. I'm saying, I like you, Serena Shen. I want to be with you. For real. I didn't pull my hand away. That night, Jolu walked me home. Downstairs. He let go of my hand, took a step back, and smiled. Go on up. Get some rest. Don't you want to come up? I asked. He paused, then laughed. There was a shy, boyish quality to his smile. Next time. Afraid if I go up, I won't leave. I smiled then. I felt a door inside my heart finally open. After Jolu and I got together, my life didn't turn upside down. It was more like one river flowing gently into another. Calm. Natural. Effortless. Busy with his cases. I was still buried in my divorce and family law files. We'd lunch together, work late sometimes. Weekend drives, or curled up watching a movie. He never complained when I worked late. Never got upset because he's patient during my long client calls. He's fine when I study case files on weekends. When I work late, he orders takeout for me. When I'm in a bad mood, he makes me a cup of hot tea. He helps analyze legal issues and tough cases. When I win a case, he takes me out for a nice meal to celebrate. He's not the type who showers you with sweet nothings. But everything he does makes me feel respected, understood, and cherished. That's what love should be like, right? It's not about one person depending on or sacrificing for the other. It's two independent people, standing as equals, supporting and helping each other grow. One night, we were walking by the river. The breeze carried water and osmanthus scents. Jolu, I asked. Do you think we'll be together forever? I don't know. He thought for a moment and answered honestly. But I hope so. What if we break up someday? That's okay too. He tightened his grip on my hand. At least while we're together, we genuinely care for each other. That's enough. I looked at him, his profile illuminated by the streetlight, and a deep sense of security washed over me. It wasn't some fiery, passionate feeling. It wasn't that anxious, insecure kind of love. It was the solid certainty, knowing this person would be by my side. Maybe that's adult love. Not rushing for a result. Not fearing loss, just being together because it makes you happy. That's all. Another 6 months passed. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. But the voice was familiar. It was Sean Chen's mother. Chingwan, it's me. Your former mother-in-law. Her voice sounded much older. None of that haughty tone from before. I wanted to talk to you. Is that okay? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Her voice began to tremble. I was wrong before. I shouldn't have changed your locks. I shouldn't have let How and the others move into your place. I shouldn't have treated you that way. You're good. I was foolish and silent. Siyuan, he hasn't been well lately. Her voice grew even softer. He quit his job. He's been holed up at home for over half a year. Won't go out. Won't talk to anyone. Just locks himself in his room all day. I've tried talking, but he won't listen. I'm at my wit's end. Chingwan, could you come see him? Auntie, I said. My voice calm. Sean and I are already divorced. His problems are no longer my business. Look, I know I have no right to ask you for anything. But I'm begging you, please, get him to see a therapist. His issues won't be solved just because I show up. I cut her off. If that's all, I'm hanging up now. Serena. I hung up and blocked that number. Not out of cruelty, but clarity. Some people. Some things, gone forever. No looking back. Not looking back is your right. And me? I have no courtesy left to give. That evening, Jolu picked me up after work. We grabbed a bowl of beef noodles at a little place downstairs. Then, he drove me home. What's wrong today? You seem off, he asked. Nothing. Got a call. Brought back old memories. I leaned on the window, watching the streetlights blur past. Jolu, why do people change? People don't change. They just finally show you who they really are. Sean was never the kind of man who'd have your back. You just didn't want to see it before. I thought about it. And he was right. People don't change. They just finally drop the mask. And I finally saw it. The noodle shop light was warm and dim. Steam from the bowls fogged up the window. As I ate, I suddenly remembered a long time ago. Sean used to eat noodles with me too. But back then, he was always on his phone. Whatever I said, he was never really listening. Jolu was different. Sitting across from me, he'd actually listen. He'd put food in my bowl. When the spice made me cough, he'd hand me water. He didn't say fancy things. But every little action screamed, I care about you. And that was enough. Jolu. Thank you. For what? For showing me what it feels like to be treated right. He put down his chopsticks and looked at me. His eyes were as gentle as an April breeze. Serena Shen. You deserve to be treated right. After that day, I finally let go of all the baggage from my past. Sean. His mother. The apartment they sold. That humiliating marriage. All of it stayed in yesterday. Today is new. And me? I'm finally ready to face whatever the future holds. A year later, I got my official law license. My first year solo, I took on over 30 cases. Mostly divorces and financial disputes. I helped women who were being abused. Got them restraining orders. Helped those wives who were forced to leave with nothing. Recovered the assets that were rightfully theirs. Helped those women who lost themselves in their marriages. Find the courage to live again. At the end of every case, my clients would hold my hand and say thank you. And I'd always say the same thing, don't thank me. The person you should thank is yourself. You chose to speak up. You chose to stop tolerating it. You chose to fight for yourself. I just helped you pick up the weapon of the law. But the one who threw the punch was you. Jolu says I've changed. That I'm stronger now. More confident. More myself. I say I haven't changed. I've just finally found the place where I fit. In this lawyer's chair. In that courtroom. Standing in front of these women who need help. That's when I'm me. The Serena Shen who won't be bullied by anyone. Who won't bow her head to anyone. On the weekend, I went home for dinner. Mom cooked a feast. Dad opened a nice bottle of wine. Qingwan, are you busy lately? Dad asked. Busy. But happy busy. That's good. Dad raised his glass. Here, let me toast you. To your independence. To your strength. To making us proud. I raised my glass, eyes misty. Mom fussed beside me. Your father's just bad with words. Independence, strength. He just misses you. Wants you to visit more. Mom. I know. After dinner, Mom pulled me onto the sofa. She whispered. Qingwan, so, you and that lawyer Zhou. How are things? Good. Well? When are you two planning to get married? Mom, we're in no rush. No rush? You're 30. Mom got flustered. I laughed. Mom, what's wrong with 30? I have a career now, friends. Someone I love. I'm happy. Whether we get married or not. We'll just see what happens. Mom sighed. You, child. You're perfect in every way, except you're too headstrong. Didn't you teach me that? I leaned on her shoulder. You always told me, a girl has to be independent, rely on herself. I've done that now. You should be happy. Mom didn't speak, but her hand gently patted the back of mine. In that moment, I felt like the luckiest person in the world. Parents who love me. Work I enjoy. A partner who understands me. All those past hardships. All those tears in the dead of night. All that humiliation of being trampled underfoot, they've all become the foundation I stand on today. I don't thank the hardship. But I thank the girl who, in the midst of it all, never gave up. Another year has passed. Jolu and I have been together for 2 years now. No grand gestures, no dramatic twists. Just day-to-day companionship and understanding. We moved in together, near my office. We rented a bigger apartment, 2 bedrooms and a living room. One's the bedroom, the other's a study we share. His half is filled with corporate law books. Mine with divorce and family case files. Every morning, we leave together. He works next door, I'm at Chingching. We lunch together sometimes. Whoever gets home first cooks. The other does the dishes. On weekends, we catch a movie, or go for a walk outside the city, or just curl up on the couch. Each with our own book. It's as plain as a glass of water. But when you drink it, it's sweet. One night, we were sitting on the balcony, watching the city lights. He suddenly spoke up. Serena, marry me. I turned to look at him. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small dark blue box, and opened it. Inside was a simple diamond ring. Not huge, but it sparkled. This isn't a proposal. I'm asking your opinion, he said. His eyes serious. Do you want to marry me? If you do, we'll get married. If you don't, we'll keep going just like this. Either way is fine with me. I looked at that ring for a long time. Then I smiled. Jolu, you're perfect in every way. Except your proposal game is seriously lacking. His ears turned red. As he spoke, I reached out. Took the ring, and slid it onto my left ring finger. It fit perfectly. So, is that a yes? He asked. Yes, I said. He was stunned for a second, then he laughed. A smile full of boyish delight. He reached out. Pulled me into his arms, resting his chin on my head. His voice was low, warm with happiness. Serena Shen, thank you. For what? For being willing to trust again. I leaned against him, gazing at the brightly lit city in the distance. Inside, a deep sense of peace settled over me. Once, I thought my life ended the day my divorce was final. Later, I realized it wasn't an end. It was a beginning. A wrong marriage was destroyed. My true self was reborn. Who I am now is Serena Shen. 31 years old. Divorced. A practicing lawyer. Helping more women who've been through what I have to stand up. I don't need anyone to save me. Because I am my own savior. And as for love, it's nice to have. It's also fine without. Because I finally know. The person in this world most worth loving is myself. Tomorrow is another day. And my story is still being written.